Hey, my name is Trinity and welcome to my channel. So today is day 2 with gentle sleep training. Tonight will be night 3. I started Sunday night, did Monday, and then tonight. It's actually going pretty well. We went from co-sleeping and dream feeding, and the goal is sleeping in his own crib, and as much as it breaks my heart, not dream feeding. I don't want him to fall asleep nursing at all. The reason why he needs to be weaned and sleeping on his own is because I would like to have some time to myself every once in a while. I am still so attached to my baby. He's only 8 months old right now, but it's affecting our relationship, not having any alone time, having the baby in the bed for the most part. It is really affecting the relationship negatively. And shortly after he turns 1, I'm actually going to Banff for a work trip. And I went to just a weekend conference where it's basically just one day, and that was hard. So there's no way that I want to have to do that going for a 3-4 day weekend. And I want to be able to bring my hubby to everything and not have him hang back and just be with the kids in a different city all the time. So that's why we're doing it, and let me get into how we're doing it. Okay, so the way that I'm accomplishing this, and it is primarily me because my other half is unfortunately away for work this week, and of course I choose this week to do it. So what I'm doing is, since he is still exclusively breastfed, what we'll do is okay, this isn't bright, but in a bright area where I at least haven't shut out all the lights, where it's noisy, that's where we'll feed him. I will feed him. And then once that's done, I go into our room where I have his music playing, and I'll change his bum, I'll put some lotion on him, get him dressed, and he's got his suckie. Now, he has never taken a suckie in his life prior to this week. And I realized when I was trying the first method, which was pick up, put down, it just wasn't working. It broke my heart. I don't believe in the cry it out. I don't like the excessive screaming and how it impacts attachment and how it increases the cortisol, stress hormone levels. I don't want anything to do with it. And due to some background stuff, I always want my kids to know that when they're upset, when they cry, they always have me to come to from the moment they're babies till one of us passes away. And so dealing with that, I had to figure out a way to get him to sleep without having him freak out as much. And we tried the pick up, put down method. And basically what that method says is you do the nightly routine, and then you lay them in bed, and then you sit there, and for my babies, you wouldn't be able to acknowledge them or else they'll just cry harder. Well, we tried this, and it didn't work. It took half hour at one point, and he was just so excessively crying. Like, he was so upset. And I would pick him up. What they say is for a baby his age, now he does stand up, but for a baby his age, you pick them up, you settle them back down, and then you lay them back down in their beds. And the idea is to get them used to being laid down in the bed. And so I was trying to do that, and I was doing that, but he was freaking out. He could not handle it. So I was like, well, what the heck? So I got fed up, and you know how if you're a mom and you're just done trying, you're gonna do whatever you want. You're very little patience. But I still would not leave him alone to cry it out. That's just not what I want and who I want to be as mom. So I went and I got the suckie that he just chews on. He doesn't actually use it properly. He just chews on it. And I basically forced that thing into his mouth. No child was harmed. Don't worry. But basically, he'd be crying, so his mouth is open, and I'd put it in his mouth, and then I'd put it back and forth across his tongue or across his top gums, because he's got 2 teeth on the bottom, and get that feel. And then he would clench down, and so the only way to get him into that would be to move it back and forth and make the squeaking sound from the silicone of the nipple on his gums. So I did that, and then he actually took it, and I was like, holy crap, he took it. And the next thing you know, it almost instantly just stabilizes him, and he's out. Like, out. And the idea for the method that I was doing was that you need to lay them down awake in their bed. Otherwise, there's no point. You're rocking them to sleep and then you're laying them down. So I laid him down, and he was somewhat awake, thankfully. His eyes were open and closing, but having that sucking motion is a comfort to them. That's why they do dream nurse. That's why they do latch on, and that's how they get comfort when they're nursing, and you're not drinking, you're just sucking. It's that motion, it's comfort. So I was like, okay, this is a really good sign. I stayed there, I sat in my chair, I didn't touch him, and then eventually I just heard his really deep breathing sounds, and he fell asleep. It was amazing. It was unbelievable. And then I left. Now, I've been keeping track of how long he's sleeping because, for the training purposes. And honestly, it's been, for his naps, yesterday was the first day for naps he did it. It was about half hour. And then he had an hour nap. Today he had an hour and a half, and he's been down for another hour so far, so we're doing good. During the night, and I think it's because of the 8-month sleep regression, he is waking up every hour to hour and a half. But every second time he'll get up, that's when I'll feed him. And during the night, to nurse him, for him to fall asleep on the boob is fine. I do still put the suckie in his mouth so that he gets used to having it, and then I'll lay him back down, cover him back up. I'll wait till I hear his deep breathing again, and then I'll leave. And actually what I had to do was I had to sleep on the couch. So because his bed is in our bedroom, what I found I was doing previously was I wouldn't fully wake up enough to actually remember what I was doing and be conscious of what I was doing. I would wake up, take him out of his bed. I mean, we were using a floor bed because he was falling asleep on the boob, but he would wake up, and so I'd wake up, I'd go get him, and then I'd bring him into bed, and the next thing you know, I would wake up some other time, whether it's in the morning or later on in the night, and I'm looking and I'm like, where did you come from? So I'm like, I gotta sleep on the couch because it has to be far enough away that I'll wake up fully, and no, don't bring him into bed. There's no room on the couch to bring him in bed. So it's been working. We're doing awesome. I'm really hoping this waking every hour to hour and a half isn't forever. What I am doing is the times where I don't feed him, I am putting him down to bed. So I'll pick him up, calm him down, put his suckie back in his mouth, lay him back down, and then I'll just pat him. And then that way, he'll get used to it. And that's what we did for our daughter, is we would rock her till she was mostly asleep, lay her down in her bed, and then we would just pat her until she went to sleep. And now she can sleep fine. And she's a little over a year and a half. So, I'm planning on I'm going to keep this up, keep this updated, seeing as I'm alone this week anyways, and then we'll see how it goes. If you had anything for gentle sleep training that you would like to suggest or get clarity on, I would love to hear it, because there's no one correct way, and I'm always happy to see if I need to change something. I always like to have a backup stash of suggestions. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye. If you liked this video and you'd like to follow along on how I'm doing gentle parenting and just our life in general, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up because it helps with the YouTube algorithm and stuff. You know the stuff. And I can't wait to see you again.